What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Glad to have you here. And there is always a lot of action going on around the world of golf these days. And it's good. I like talking about it. And I think we can have some good engagement, good discussion. However, here's what I want to stick to here. Facts about LIV Golf versus PGA Tour. All right. I don't want to get into like hypotheticals or opinions because that's going to vary from person to person. Everybody has kind of their thought and take on it and whether they're happy about LIV Golf or whether they prefer the PGA Tour, right? That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But with that, I want to go over just some facts going on here so that we can kind of really look at and get a better idea of whether or not it is something that we're going to accept and like, or should we just stay away from it, right? Okay, so PGA versus LIV Tour. I wrote down a number of facts that we can just say, okay, these are facts. They're undisputable things. Like, for example, here's a fact. Because of LIV Golf and them getting players off the PGA Tour, there are now more spots open on the PGA Tour than were previously open in the past, right? Like, that's just a fact. If Brooks Koepka leaves the PGA Tour, well, then there's a spot open for somebody else to move up, right? If he was 10th on the money list or the FedEx Cup points or whatever it was, and now he's gone, well, everybody moves up a layer, and who's ever at the very bottom, now there's a space for a new player, somebody else, to be within the top 150, 125, 30, whatever it is in your FedEx Cup points, there is now room for another player. So the more LIV takes, the more space becomes available for other players. That's just a fact. If there's another tour that comes up and they start taking players, guess what? There's room for other people. So that's a fact. Undisputable. Excuse me. Okay, here's a fact that has happened. The Q School used to be kind of the greatest Cinderella story tournament there was. All these guys would go through pre-qualify or, local, whatever qualifying stages, and they'd get to the Q School, which I believe it was like 6 rounds or something ridiculous. It was a lot. And they would play, and then the top 25 or whatever it was made it to the PGA Tour. They got their PGA Tour cards, and then whatever 26 through whatever got their nationwide tour, whatever it was called at the time, cards, and then the others didn't really have status anywhere, and based on where you finished, you had status here or there. Well, now, fact, the Q School now is going to award the top 5 with their PGA Tour card, okay? Now, that they may or may not say it's because of what LIV has done or is doing or whatever, but the facts are facts. Now, Q School has top 5 get to go straight to the PGA Tour. Whether or not that's because of LIV or not, well, I don't know. I can't state that it's because of them. However, fact of the matter is, it's happening. Q School now gives 5 spots away to PGA Tour. Another fact, okay, there's more money available on the PGA Tour. That's a fact, right? Again, it goes back to the first thing I said, as people leave, there's a spot. As people leave and aren't making money, well, there's more money for those that are there. And the PGA Tour has also somehow found $190 some or whatever million to add to a number of tournament purses. That's a fact. That's what they're going to do. So is it because they're not going to say, oh, because of LIV? They're going to be like, oh, well, we had this in the plans. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Fact is, now PGA Tour is offering more money. in certain events. Fantastic. They're also offering 8 no-cut events in the fall or different season for those in the top 50 of the FedEx Cup points rankings, or standings. So that's a fact. They're also kind of reconfiguring the schedule so it will have an off season. Fact, that's coming 2024. And so the PGA Tour is definitely doing different things now. That is a fact. All right. What else is a fact? Well, there's also, fact is this. It is a fact that a LIV tournament is faster than a PGA tournament. So if you watch the final round of the LIV Golf event, if you watch on Pumpkin Ridge, they all start at the same time, and then the tournament ends, and you're done. There's a winner. I was also watching the final round of the John Deere, and I'm watching it for an hour or so on Golf Channel, and then I have to switch the channel to wherever, CBS, and and then the leaders tee off in 30 minutes. And I'm like, wow, I'm already watching golf for an hour and a half before the leaders start. Now I got 4 hours to go. Whew. It was different. The LIV event was different. They were in and out, they were done. They're 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Those are facts. So this is something that I mean, you can just decide whether or not it's right for you, but facts are facts. Here's a fact. It's competition for the PGA Tour, for the DP World Tour, for everybody. Here's what's interesting, though. It's not a one-way competition. I think this is where PGA Tour and DP World Tour kind of get it wrong, is the LIV Tour is competition for the PGA Tour, and it works both ways. The PGA Tour is competition for LIV. So what does this mean? This means that there's a check and balance system going on. This is not a fact whether or not it's good for golf. But a fact is that when you have multiple competitors vying for the same thing, then there's just a natural check and balance system going on. These guys are watching those guys and, hey, what are they doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it helps both products be better. Think about Coke and Pepsi. If there was only Coke and no competitor, they'd do whatever they want. And that's what the PGA Tour did for a long time. There really wasn't a competitor out there. No rival whatsoever. Because of that, you lose sight. You lose some of your edge. You lose a lot of things. You own the world. You basically have a monopoly. You do whatever you want. And they did whatever they wanted. And it did not sit well with the number of players, so they left. Now, there's at least 2, LIV and PGA Tour. And if one starts doing their own thing, then they're going to lose players. So it forces each one to operate a little bit differently because they have to watch what the other one is doing. Now, whether or not it's good for the game or bad for the game, I don't know. I'm not a flag bearer for LIV. What I am is I love golf. And I do know that this has shaken up golf. It has shaken up the golf industry, and it will continue to shake up the golf industry for some time. And I'm not necessarily opposed to that because I believe that LIV will make the PGA Tour better, and I believe the PGA Tour will make LIV better, and I believe in the end, and I don't believe there's an end, I believe it will continue to evolve, but I'm not beholden to one tour or the next. What I like is the rivalry, the competitiveness. I like the shake-up and mix-up. That's me personally. I like that. But the fact is that when you have multiple competitors, they're going to have a natural check and balance system. And I think my opinion is that I think that's pretty good, personally. Okay, now here's another fact. There's more publicity for other golf courses. Okay, Pumpkin Ridge never got anything really before. Maybe you could go back to when Tiger won the U.S. Amateur back in, I think, 96 was at Pumpkin Ridge. Other than that, you're not really hearing about that place. So it's good for more courses. The more top quality, high-level tours there are, and there should be a YouTuber tour, FYI, just in case anybody's listening out there, that would also help. But nonetheless, this gets a lot of eyeballs on the golf courses that LIV is going to be at. Much the same way the PGA Tour gets a lot of eyeballs on the courses that it's at. So if there's more tours, more courses get this publicity that they normally wouldn't get. And what it does is it helps the membership at those facilities. Because people who come to Oregon or Portland area, Pumpkin Ridge will be more on their radar screen than before. And it's just like marketing and advertising for these other golf courses, not just Pumpkin Ridge or Centurion or Bedminster or Harvest Farms, wherever the tournaments are going to be around the world, but also other places around the world in Bangkok and in London and the places that LIV is going to be this year, next year, and moving forward. So that's always good. And the final fact here is this. This is just a fact. Like, the more people who come, like, think about this. Without the LIV Tour, okay, if it just didn't exist, never happened, nothing, there would be the John Deere Classic that weekend, and that's about it, right? LIV wouldn't have been there. Pumpkin Ridge, nothing. It would have been business as usual out there. And all the fans that got to go and got excited about the LIV Tour that was there, they would have done something different. But because of this, the fact is they came, they spent their money, they invested their time, their energy, their resources into golf, which helps the golf industry as a whole because they're buying apparel, they're buying concessions, merchandise, whatever it is. Those people in that geographic location would have done something different that weekend. That's just a fact, right? If they weren't there. So the more events that you can get people to, the better for the overall game, better for the overall golf industry as a business, as an industry. And that helps the game as a whole. That's just a fact. They're going to spend their money in golf when they would have spent their money at the movies, on a lake, somewhere else, right? Golf, sadly, I don't like to say one thing is competing against another, but it kind of is, right? Like, golf competes with other sports. It's your time. Are you going to golf or are you going to play tennis? So if you can play golf, then the golf industry gets your money, right? That's the bottom line. They get your time, your money, your kids, your resources. If it's another sport you play, then they get it. So if golf can get you into golf, and I do believe it's the greatest game out there because you could play for so long. And you could play from 4 years old to 90, 100 years old. It doesn't matter. You can play from beginning to end. And that's what I love about this game. You can compete and have a great time and enjoy the outdoors, exercise physically. It can help you stay fit. There's so much benefit golf can provide for you that I think it's a great way to go. So the more, for me, the better. That's what I like about this. I'm not waving the flag. I'm not saying LIV is better than PGA. I'm not doing any of that. I'm saying that I think that there are certain facts we have to look at and say, think about that before we make our just ultimate decision. Stick my flag in the sand. No, I'm against it because this and that. Look, I've always said there's some sadness in here because it's different, and I'm losing something that I really loved for a long time, and it's going to be different. And I'm going to have to process that loss. That's fine. We should, because that's a real thing. And that's going to take place. Whether we like it or not, that's happening. And so we're losing something. Anytime we lose anything, we've got to whoa, there's people who really resist and are anti that because they don't want to lose what they have. They're comfortable. I like it the way it was, and that's fine. And I don't have a problem with that. But it's changing whether we like it or not. So it's going to change. But I don't think you could I'm not for hating something just because it's forcing me to change what I'm comfortable with. I'm just going to be open to the future, however it shakes out. And I'm trying to look at it with just a fresh perspective and open-mindedness and say, hey, is this something I can get behind or not? You can go the political route if you wish, and that's something to do. But then are you going to look at every area of your life, right, that can have ties to governments that you're against, and you're going to push everything out? You're probably not going to do that, right? So yeah, things need to change. I get it. Of course they do. They're not going to change by being mean, protesting, and that's not going to create change. What's going to create change is love and being kind to people and getting in and getting to know people, and then maybe you can have some influence there. But just saying, no, I'm against you from day one, that never really works. So but if you want to go that way, that's fine. You can do what you want to do, but I'm sticking to just the golf lane because that's the lane I love, and that's where I think we can find common ground. And it's not going away. No matter what I do, no matter what you do, no matter what anybody does, LIV is here to stay. And we got to figure out, are we going to embrace it or not? But these are the facts. What are the facts? Okay? Comment below. Just list facts that you know. And let's not get political here. Okay? Because if you list a fact there, then someone's going to go there and golf. Let's stick to golf. That's the way. I would love for us to just engage, have conversations with one another. Golf. What are the facts about LIV that are golf specifically related? Comment below. See you guys soon.